The other role in our service that an acolyte can do is as an altar server. And the first thing an altar server is going to do is, before the service even begins, and they are going to take the candle lighter that has a wick on one side and a snuffer on the other side, and they're going to light it and go and light the 2 candles that sit on the altar at all times. The 2 candles are commonly referred to as the gospel candle and the epistle candle. And the rule of thumb is that the gospel candle can never be lit alone. And the gospel candle is the one that, if you're facing the altar, is on the left-hand side. So what that means is, when you light the candles at the beginning of service, you're not going to light left to right, but actually you're going to light them right to left. And so you'll walk up to the candle on the right, which is the epistle candle, and you'll light it. But before that, you will have bowed. And then after lighting the epistle candle, you'll light the gospel candle. And then after you've lit both, you'll bow once more. You can blow out the wick at this point and return the candle lighter to its proper place that you first got it from. After that, you'll have the introductory procession, which all you do is walk directly behind the crucifer. If the crucifer isn't present, you can also pick up this duty, but generally speaking, the altar server will march behind the crucifer. Next, as the altar server, you will actually have an opportunity to carry the cross. So there's one part in the service where the server carries the cross rather than the crucifer, and this is during the gospel reading. And so you'll hear the worship pastor or whoever else has the microphone say, "Please remain standing for our gospel reading." And that is your cue, altar server, to stand up and walk behind the altar to retrieve the cross. The deacon who is serving that day will walk directly behind you, will grab the Holy Bible, Holy Scriptures, lift them up, and follow you to the center of our sanctuary. And once you get to the middle of the center aisle, you will actually turn around and you will face the deacon who is reading the Scriptures. You will hold it for the duration of the gospel reading, and then he or she will turn to their side so that you can walk back up the aisle and return the cross behind the altar. The next role of an altar server in the service is during the offertory song. And so the offertory is when there's the passing of the plates and the giving of goods of the people to the church. And what you're going to do is, as the music begins, you're going to walk to what's called the credence table, which is just that small wooden table holding the elements right next to the altar. If you're facing the altar, it's on the left-hand side. And under the credence table are offering baskets. And so what you're going to do is, you're going to take the offering baskets and you're going to place them on the altar, and you will see ushers begin to walk forward down the center aisle towards you, holding bread and cruets of wine, or pitchers of wine. And what's going to happen is, before you give them the baskets, you're going to receive the pitcher of wine and the plate of bread, and you're going to give them one at a time to the deacon who is standing behind the altar. And after they've received that, you will then take those offering plates and hand them to the ushers, who will then disperse them throughout the whole congregation. After you've received the elements from the ushers and you've given them the plates and they've started to distribute them throughout the church, you will assist the deacon in setting the table as the altar server. And all that is you're taking everything that's on the credence table and you're handing it to the deacon who's helping set the altar, and they'll do the rest. So you don't need to know where it goes on the altar, but you do need to assist in handing them all the things on the credence table. But before you do that, they're probably going to hand you a few things. They'll hand you the Bible that's been sitting on the altar and a few other linens that need to go away as well. Remember, before you hand the priest the pitchers and the plates of bread and the chalices, you need to remove all of the linens that sit on top and the corks that sit inside each of those pitchers. After this, you will wait until the offertory is over, and the priest will actually, right before the doxology is sang, will come up and switch places with the deacon who just set the table. And you're going to take the linen that's sitting on the credence table next to a small little pitcher of water and a plate to catch the water. And you will wait with the linen on your arm, with that small bowl in your hand, and that water-filled pitcher in your other hand, for the priest to come over. And very quickly, the priest will put their hands under, and you can pour water pretty quickly on them. They will dry their hands on that linen that you have on your arm, and then your role as altar server is done. And you can go ahead and return to your seat. After you do that, you will stand kind of to the side in the background and wait as the offertory takes place. But then the offertory concludes with the doxology, when everyone is singing and raising their hands, and you will walk back to the front to where you just were, and the ushers will be following the crucifer leading in the cross, and you will receive the plates from the ushers that are now filled with money. The plates that you once gave empty are now filled up, and you're going to place them into the hands of the priest, who will lift them up and then hand them back to you, and you will give those back to the usher, and they will march them out of the room. Finally, at the end of service, the altar server's job is, before the crucifer takes the cross and leads us out of the room, the altar server will, after the final blessing, put out both candles. But remember, the gospel candle never is lit alone, which means you extinguish it first. So you lit at the beginning, right to left, but you will extinguish at the end, left to right. And you'll do the same thing. You'll bow before you extinguish the first candle, and you'll bow after you finish extinguishing both candles. After you've put back the candle lighter and snuffer in its proper place, you will walk back to your seat. And in that moment, the crucifer will pass you almost like a handoff, and he or she will get the cross, and you will pretty quickly turn around and follow them out of the room in the concluding procession. And that's the service.